So to begin, make sure that you have a pen or something to write with, paper or something to write on, and a printed copy of the extract. If for whatever reason you're not able to print the extract, then make sure you've got it open in a Word document so you can start editing live.
The extract we're about to explore today is absolutely thrilling. I want you to come on an adventure with me. We're going to use our imagination, and together we will explore this cautionary tale of fighting, of pirates, and of the desperate hunt for treasure. Although officially this extract is set in the mid-18th century, ultimately it's timeless and it is absolutely relevant to every single one of us today. So, it's time to begin. I'm going to set the scene for you, and I'm going to make you picture the place where our story begins.
All I want you to do now is use your imagination and just listen to these sounds. Try and create the world around you. Most of our narrative takes place next to the calm and peaceful ocean, but our story is far from peaceful.
So the story begins in the narrator's father's inn by the sea. So the inn is kind of like a pub. And at this inn, a very strange character enters. We're about to explore some of these first characters now. Look closely at how they're described.
Meet the two main characters of our extract. This here is Jim Hawkins. He is our first person narrator. He's probably in his teenage years and he is super keen and enthusiastic. Before we read, it's important to know a little bit more about the author himself.
Born on the 13th of November 1850, Robert Louis Stevenson was a Scottish novelist. He loved the life of adventure and often wrote about his travels in his books. In fact, it was said that he was travelling on the oceans for 3 years, dipping in and out of Hawaiian islands, meeting princesses and other royal people. We can definitely see this adventure reflected in this extract and in the rest of his novel. Okay, so we've thought about our setting, our location, and we've explored a little tiny bit about our characters. Now let's have a read of the text itself. As we read through the extract, I want you to have a think about moments or words that really stand out to you. What makes this exciting for you? And what bits do you particularly enjoy?
I remember him as if it were yesterday.
As he came plodding to the inn door.
His sea chest following behind him in a hand barrow.
A tall, strong, heavy, nut-brown man. His tarry pigtail falling over the shoulders of his soiled blue coat.
His hands ragged and scarred, with black broken nails.
And the sabre cut across one cheek.
A dirty, livid white.
I remember him looking around the cove and whistling to himself as he did so.
And then breaking out in that old sea song he sang so often afterwards. 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. And a high old tottering voice that seemed to have been tuned and broken at the capstan bars.
Then he rapped on the door with a bit of stick, like a handpipe that he carried. And when my father appeared, called roughly for a glass of rum.
This, when it was brought to him,
he drank slowly, like a connoisseur, lingering on the taste.
And still looking about him at the cliffs and up at our signboard.
This is here for you if you wanted to have a read yourself. If this is the case, then pause now.
So to evoke certain feelings or to make you think a certain way, writers employ specific things into their writing. So it's really important for us to deconstruct some of what Stevenson has written and think about why it makes the text more exciting or what the message could be in his descriptions. So now let's take a bit of time to deconstruct our evidence and think about the effect this has on us and other readers like us.
So let's have a think about some of these descriptions. The verb plodding is particularly interesting. You get a sense of the heavy motion of this man as he walks. We then get the tall, the strong, the heavy adjectives that follow. Each word building another layer on this description of this interesting character. Notice the tiny details and the way the pigtail is falling over the shoulder, or the fact that the coat is blue and soiled, quite dirty. Think about what these little tiny hints are telling us about this character, where they've been, where they're going to, or what their significance might be in the novel itself. Look closely at the 3 different things that are described here. We started off with the tiny little details of his appearance and what he was wearing, and we've moved on to the way in which he moves and the sounds that he creates as a result. Think carefully about each effect of these tiny little details. For me, I like the idea that he is rapping on that door with a bit of stick, constantly hitting against it. That is such a contrast to the way in which he slowly drinks, lingering on the taste. It's quite sinister and intimidating. And all the while making sure to still look around him, checking out his surroundings. Is he quite paranoid? What do you think? Pause the video now and highlight the moments that describe the sound, the movement, or the character's appearance.
So a method is something that the writer has consciously done to evoke some kind of emotion or some kind of message or a feeling from us as the reader. But remember, although the extract is brilliant and exciting for everyone, there are certain words and phrases that might stand out differently and might be a bit more personal to you as an individual. So let's ask a few other people what they thought about the extract and what they found particularly exciting and interesting about Stevenson's writing.
I love this extract. I think the thing that makes it really exciting for me is the description of the pirate, obviously, but how he has that sabre cut on his cheek makes me think that he's had a really interesting life. Also, why does he break out into song all of the time?
My favourite part of this extract is definitely the song that features halfway through. I think it's haunting and mysterious, adds a real sense of dimension to the character, and fundamentally we want to know, who is he, who's he been with, and how does he know such dark lyrics?
I like the way it describes his treasure trove first and then his physical description, and also we get an insight into his personality. He's whistling about 15 dead men, so it's clear that he takes something that is quite serious, quite a light-hearted way. There's also a nice juxtaposition between his quite masculine description and then followed by his high, tottering voice. So you wouldn't expect someone who is a pirate and tall and heavy to have such a high-pitched voice. I think it's exciting because the way it introduces his character suggests that something scary is going to happen because of him, and it kind of foreshadows that this character, this pirate, is going to be important later on.
I want you to reflect on what you found most exciting in this piece of writing and what you think Stevenson has purposefully done to achieve this. Please do remember that you can pause this video at any time. Now let's think about getting some of our ideas down onto paper. So for this part, you'll need your printed extract or the extract that you have up on your computer. Skim and scan back over the text and pick out the words and phrases that really stood out to you. Make sure you highlight them or draw a big ring around them and try and think about what they might mean and what the purpose of those specific words or phrases are in building the layers of this character. So for example, I underlined the ragged and scarred adjectives describing his hands, and I think that they could suggest his hands are quite broken and tatty, probably because of the way he used them on the boat or at sea. It also suggests he doesn't care much about himself. And I guess this is just further supported by the black broken nails. I also noticed that black and broken are alliteration. We've got the B sounds there. And this just further directs my attention to this particular detail of his. It also shows how dirty he might be and unwelcoming. I want you to pause the video now and spend a couple of minutes really deconstructing the words on the page. Now we've had a real close look at some of the words and phrases in this extract and what that might mean to us, I want you to try and come up with a list of what we call big ideas. Now, big ideas are like little summaries that give us an overview of some ideas, some themes, or some key messages from the author. So here are a few that we could work with. For me, I think the mystery of the strange man is particularly exciting, and there's lots of different words and phrases that the writer uses to emphasise this mystery. I think that the dark and sinister description of his hands and face adds to the excitement. Think the broken black nails. I think the fearless and intimidating way the man moves is particularly exciting, and the sounds that he makes make it quite unpredictable. Finally, I enjoy the reaction of those around him, particularly the first-person narrator, our protagonist of our story. Notice that big ideas are not a list of techniques, and they're not a list of key words or devices that have been used. Pause the video now and do give this a go.
Okay, so I hope after the lesson today you've managed to get lots of really brilliant, colourful notes down in your workbooks. But let's finish today with more of a reflection task. Let's think about that key question. What do you enjoy about this extract, and what has Stevenson done to make it exciting? I just want you to take 15 minutes now and do some reflective writing in your workbooks. I've got an example of what I may write, but you can definitely do any of your own ideas.
So here is my example. Notice that my first sentence is actually one of my big ideas, and everything that comes after that are little bits of evidence that just tell me specifically how and why I might think something. So I've said, the way in which the mysterious character moves is particularly enjoyable and exciting. There is a viciousness in the way that Stevenson describes how the man rapped on the door with a bit of stick. It is violent and aggressive to bang on someone's door, but even more so to hit it constantly with an object that could be interpreted as a weapon. This aggressive banging is then contrasted with the sinister sipping of the drink. He drank slowly. The emphasis on slowly drinking, having almost just bashed the door down, is exciting and fearful at the same time, really presenting how unpredictable this stranger is. For me, the fear Stevenson creates is exciting. Your turn now, and like I've said before, please do pause the video and rewind and replay any bit you like. Good luck!
I hope you've enjoyed it today, and I hope it's inspired you to move on to the next task.
We hope to see you again soon.